Hello guys, welcome to another video for the preparation of a descriptive examination. Students, today also we are going to discuss some sample essays which will be very helpful for your examination. The first topic that I have taken over here is the online education. Okay, so let's begin with this particular topic right now. Now let's start. The topic is online education. Okay, this is how your sample essay should look like, students. It should consist of 4 or 5 paragraphs. Okay, basically this essay consists of 5 paragraphs. You may include 4 paragraphs. That is totally up to your own choice depending upon the length of the essay. Okay, so basically the topic is online education, and it is a burning topic because in the situation of the lockdown, the online education turned out to be a real blessing to a lot of people, whether it comes to work from home or the students education. It was all the technology that helped everyone. So online education was a real asset to a lot of people during the pandemic. Now, in this particular essay, we shall be discussing about online education and the proper drawbacks and the advantages of online education. Okay, I am taking the topic in general, but you might get the topic in different scenarios. Like, for example, they can give you the topic that how online education turned into a boon at the time of pandemic, or they can tell you that do you think online education is worth or it should be implemented, should or do you think that offline education should replace the online education, something like that. So if you have an idea on the general topic and a general essay, you will be able to write different kinds of essay in your own way. Okay, so let's start with the first type of the first paragraph. As you know, this essay is divided into 5 paragraphs. Basically, the first thing in the first paragraph, you have to define basically what is the, how this online education was really helpful. Okay, this is what you have to define about. Let's move ahead and start with the first paragraph. Let's read the first paragraph, students. Technology has changed every aspect of our life, including the way we learn and teach. Okay, technology. Because why we're using the word technology? Because we're talking about online education, and online education is directly linked with the technology, with the usage of computer, laptops, and mobile phone and other gadgets. So technology has changed every aspect of our life, including the way we learn and teach. That technology has been very helpful in every field, and it has changed our lives in the way how we learn things and how we teach. All right. Nowadays, it is possible to earn degrees online. It is very important to note here that nowadays, the higher education or the degrees earning is no more a problematic situation. It has become very easy for people to earn degrees online. Online forums allow you to ask questions on any topic and receive answers with a matter of minutes. Okay, these online things, they are you can ask any questions on any topic and you receive an immediate answer from for that, okay, within a matter of minutes. However, I still believe online education cannot replace classroom based learning and teaching. So yes, this particular essay is general, but it will discuss why we cannot replace the online education with the offline education. Okay, so you can give your hint of perspective that I believe that online education cannot replace classroom education or classroom based learning and teaching. Now let's start with the second paragraph. Online learning has its advantages. Now in this paragraph, you will talk about the advantages or the positive effects. Online learning has its advantages. You can learn from the comforts of your home. This is the first possible advantage of online learning, that you can learn from the comfort of your home. The flexible learning hours are a boon for people who can't afford to spend 6 or 7 hours in the classroom. Now, for those people who have a short notice, have a short time period, but they want to learn, for them online education is a real asset because they can learn from the comfort zone of their home. Also, they need not to spend 6 or 7 continuous hours. They can study on their own pace. Also, the internet has made it possible for learners to find teachers from any part of the world. This is also the advantages of online education. Students, your teaching is not limited to a particular teacher. You have a variety of choices. If you want to learn anything from a foreign company or a foreign teacher, you can do so. For example, if you want students want to learn Spanish, then she can find Spanish teachers online and learn from home. She does not have to go to Spain and find an institution that teaches Spanish in her country. Yes, if you want to learn any different languages, so for that you need to you ought to like go to a different country, right? You ought to go to a different country and go there, uh, be a part of an institution, and then you have to learn. But now due to online education, it is the easiest possibility that you can learn from your home. If you want to learn a different language, you can hire any teacher, any faculty of that particular country, the native speaker, and you can learn it. Okay, next we have next paragraph. Now in this paragraph, we'll discuss about the negative aspect, okay, the disadvantages. Online learning has its disadvantages too. Since there is no one to supervise your work or evaluate your progress, you need a great amount of motivation and discipline to complete your course successfully. Okay, this is also very important. You know, when you're working in a class, if you are making a mistake, okay, if you are making a mistake, there is a teacher around you to rectify your mistake. Okay, and suppose you are not willing to work. If you're not willing to work, your teacher will be there to motivate you. But when you are proceeding with an online course, there is nobody to guide you. There is like nobody to like pester you every time. There is nobody to motivate you. So you have to be disciplined in yourself. For example, if the syllabus will be given to you and you ought to complete it in 10 days, so you have to complete it in 10 days at your own pace by motivating yourself. Okay, there'll be nobody to tell you that you have to complete it. You have to be disciplined, you have to be self-disciplined in completion of a particular online educational course. Okay, and distractions are a real problem for students doing online programs. Of course, you don't have that environment because you're at your home, and a home is like a home environment is there. So there might be a lot of distractions. Apart from distraction, there can be some technical error which will be a hindrance in your education. So you can write this as well, that technological issues are also very common during online education. Now you will contrast. Okay, now we'll compare. By contrast, classroom learning does not have many of these drawbacks. The best thing about classroom learning is that it creates an ambience. Now students, we have talked about disadvantages of online education, advantages of online education. Now it's time to talk about offline education's benefit. Okay, the by contrast, classroom learning does not have many of these drawbacks. Means the drawbacks which online education has, the classroom learning does not have these drawbacks. The best thing about classroom learning is that it creates an ambience conducive to learning. In a class, you are surrounded by other students who also want to score higher grades, right? So there is a level of competition. This encourages you to work harder. However, this encouragement, this motivation and competition is missing in online education. In addition, subjects like medicine and engineering cannot be taught online because the emphasis is on practical, not the theory. Also, one important aspect is that when you talk about maths, when you talk about science, medicine and engineering, this cannot be taught to you online because the focus is on a practical theory, not sorry, the practical aspect, not a theory. But in online, the practical aspects are not very clear. Now, last but not the least is the conclusion part. In conclusion part, you generally start with to conclude or to sum up or to encapsulate. Online learning may have its benefits, but I still feel that classroom learning is superior to online learning. That said, that the internet and the information technology has endless possibilities. Both students and teachers will benefit a lot if they take advantage of the power of internet in the classroom. Okay, so technology is important, but like the fact is that instead of using it especially for education, like turning it into online education, one should include the classroom learning with a hint of technology, because then it will help out the students as well as the teachers. Now let's read the whole essay properly all together. Technology has changed every aspect of our life, including the way we learn and teach. Nowadays, it is possible to earn degrees online. Online forums allow you to ask questions on any topic and receive answers within a matter of minutes. However, I still believe that online education cannot replace classroom-based learning and teaching. Online learning has its advantages. You can learn from the comforts of your home. The flexible learning hours are a boon for people who can't afford to spend 6 to 7 hours in the classroom. Also, the internet has made it possible for learners to find teachers from any part of the world. So, for example, a student who wants to learn Spanish can find Spanish teachers online and learn from her home. She doesn't have to go to Spain or find an institution that teaches her Spanish in her country. Online learning has its disadvantages too, since there is no one to supervise your work or evaluate your progress. You need a great amount of motivation and discipline to complete your course successfully. Distractions are a real problem for students during online programs. Next is, by contrast, classroom learning does not have many of these drawbacks. The best thing about classroom learning is that it creates an ambience conducive to learning. In a class, you are surrounded by other students who also want to score higher grades. This encourages you to work harder. In addition, subjects like medicine and engineering cannot be taught online because the emphasis on the practical, not theory. To conclude, online learning may have its benefit, but I still feel that classroom learning is superior to online learning. That that said, the internet and information technology has endless possibilities. Both students and teachers will benefit a lot if they take advantage of power of internet in the classroom. Okay, now next topic that we are going to talk about today is also a very important topic, not a burning issue, not any general topic, but yes, a topic of the personal interest, a topic of concern. It is the consumption of the junk foods. You know, students, what are junk foods? Talking about the fast food, which do not carry a lot of health benefits. So, nowadays people are consuming it, a lot, and they have their own possible consequences, and that's why a lot of health issues are turning up. So, we'll talk about these consumption of junk food advantage, disadvantages in this particular essay. So let's start with an essay now. This is how your sample essay should look like, with almost proper, brief and explanative 4 paragraphs. As I told you, this is all about these junk food and the proper consequences of having the junk food. So let's start with the first paragraph, students. How will you generate idea for this particular? Tell you just. Okay, yeah. Let's start with it. So here it is with the here we are with the first paragraph. Let's read it and then I'll explain it to you. Excessive consumption of fatty foods leads to a lot of health problems. Some people believe that creating awareness about health consequences of junk food is the solution to this problem. Others, however, feel that other measures are required to tackle this issue. In my opinion, creating awareness is important, but that alone will not work. Right. So this particular topic of junk food, consumption of junk food can come up to you in variety of ways. They can give you a question like, do you think stopping creating awareness for consumption of junk food is important, or there can be some other measures as well? Okay, like these kind of issues can come up or topics can come up. So you can write it if you have a content in your mind. So like I've written excessive consumption. Excessive means extra consumption or more than normal. Okay, excessive consumption of fatty foods lead to a lot of health problems, or you can write health issues also. That's up to you. Some people believe that creating awareness about health consequences of junk food is the solution to this problem. Others, however, feel that measures are required to tackle this issue. However, in my opinion, creating awareness is important, but that alone will not work. Now, here is a second paragraph that we'll deal with now. Most people lead a hectic life these days. They do not have the time or energy to cook proper meals. As a result, they subsist on fast food. Subsist means they depend on fast food. Okay, they depend on fast food. Now, a lot of people are having a busy schedule nowadays. Okay, that's why they are switching to ready-made junk foods. Okay, they're totally dependent on the usage of junk food because they are handy, they're accessible, they're easily available. Many of them are actually aware of the ill effects of fast food, yet they consume because they prefer convenience to health. Now, students, the possible consequences and harmful effect of junk food are clear to everyone. All right, everyone knows that fast food is dangerous for health, but still they consume it. So why it's happening? You have to specify the reason in your essay as well, that this happens because a lot of people prefer convenience than to health. Okay, they are starving, they are hungry, they want to have food. So according to convenience they go. They don't want to cook food, they don't want to cook any kind of healthy snacks or something like that, but they switch to fast food because that is easily available and ready to eat. Such people will not stop eating junk foods even if the government launches awareness campaigns against such food. Yes, this is also natural. Even if government will start awareness campaigns for junk food, still people will not leave it because they are compromising on their health deliberately. There are some people who consume fast food because they're ignorant of consequences of consumption. Awareness campaign will work best for them. But on the other hand, there exists one category of people who do not know the harmful use of fast food. They think fast food is like fulfilling their hunger and it is completely fine. So awareness to those people will be really helpful because then people will get to know that they will get to know that these particular campaigns will be helpful for them because they'll get to know that junk food is not good for health, rather it deteriorates our health. Okay. Now, next paragraph. In this paragraph, we can take some examples. As I told you in body paragraphs, you can take examples as well. As we have seen in many cases, lack of awareness is not the factor that encourages the consumption of fast food. Therefore, other actions are also required to deal with this problem. Okay, not only this particular factor that awareness had to be created is practically good, but other actions are required to deal with this problem. People who eat fast food in spite of knowing that it is unhealthy may stop eating if the government makes unaffordable by increasing tax on it. Yes, taxation on fast food will be another positive positive thing in this particular context, because if anything will be unaffordable, it will be not bought to that extent. All right, generally also students, that if we find anything exorbitant price, then you refrain from buying it, or you will buy it hardly, like sometimes twice, once in a month, or like once in 2 months, like this, because it is heavy on your pockets, right? So one such a step that can be taken from government side is that they can levy taxes on these kind of particular products. Even this measure will not deter wealthy people from consuming fast food. But again, this also comes with proper thing that even if the government will put taxes, the normal middle class people will refrain. But wealthy people will not have any effect of it. They will keep on consuming this particular fast food. Perhaps a better solution is to make healthy food more affordable and accessible. Yes, the better solution is that the healthier food should be more affordable, at a very cheaper price, and it should be accessible. Accessible means, for example, if you open Swiggy and Zomato, you will find fast food restaurants very, very common and in numbers besides the healthy food. Why is the difference? Why on the streets you find vendors selling the fast foods rather than the healthy food? Why the food like poha and sandwiches, these healthy dishes, why these are not sold in an open stall? Why the preference is for the chow mein and the pizza burgers a lot? So that is also one of the reasons, because of its accessibility, people are consuming it. The government can perhaps open eateries that serve healthy food at reasonable prices. In Tamil Nadu, for example, there are state-funded canteens that serve healthy food for a nominal price. When healthy options are available conveniently, at least some people will give up fast food. We cannot say that a lot of people will give up fast food, but at least some people will give up the fast food. To conclude, now this is the conclusion part. To conclude, creating awareness about harmful effect of fast food is certainly important, but it will not solve the problem, right? If you can create awareness, if you keep on posting the statuses telling the harmful effect of consumption of fast food, It is not going to solve the problem because a lot of people ignore these kind of valuable knowledge. In addition to creating awareness, like besides creating awareness, the government should take measures that make fast foods unaffordable and healthy food more affordable and more accessible. Okay, so students, let's start with the like once again I will read the entire essay for you so that you can understand the flow of ideas in an essay. Let's start now. Excessive consumption of fatty foods lead to a lot of health problems. Some people believe that creating awareness about the health consequences of junk food is the solution to this problem. Others, however, feel that other measures are required to tackle this issue. In my opinion, creating awareness is important, but that alone will not work. Most people lead a hectic life these days. They do not have the time or energy to cook proper meals. As a result, they subsist on fast food. Many of them are actually aware of ill effects of fast food, yet they consume it because they prefer convenience to health. Such people will not stop eating junk food even if the government launches awareness campaigns against such foods. There are also some people who consume fast food because they're ignorant of the consequences of fast food consumption. Awareness campaign will work best amongst them. As we have seen, in many cases, lack of awareness is not the factor that encourages the consumption of fast food. There are therefore other actions are also required to deal with this problem. People who eat fast food in spite of knowing that it is unhealthy may stop eating if the government make it unaffordable by increasing taxes on it. Even this measure will not deter wealthy people from consuming fast foods. Perhaps a better solution is to make healthy food more affordable and accessible. The government can perhaps open eateries that serve healthy food at reasonable prices. In Tamil Nadu, for example, there are state funded canteens that serve healthy foods for a nominal price. When healthy options are available conveniently, at least some people will give up fast food. The conclusion part will be to conclude creating awareness about harmful effect of fast food is certainly important, but it will not solve the problem. In addition to creating awareness, the government has to take measures to make fast foods unaffordable and healthy foods more accessible. Okay, now let's start with the third essay topic or the last essay topic of today, that is tourism. Now, the topic in your exam will not come only tourism. They can talk about, they can ask you to talk about advantages and disadvantages of tourism. They can talk about like whether tourism is a positive impact, etc. Like they can frame some question surrounding the word tourism. So this is how your essay should look like. Division of essay should be proper. Okay, so let's start with it. Okay, 4 paragraphs in total are there. Let's start with it. The first paragraph will talk about travel industry or exactly what tourism, how tourism is a possible thing. Okay, travel industry has experienced a major boom in the later part of 20th century and has been a blessing in disguise, which has helped some weaker nations to uplift their failing economies. Yes, the nations, the countries which were having some problem, which were lagging behind, travel industries or tourism turned out to be a blessing for them because when people visit your country, they spend their currency, their money in your country. Okay. While questions have been raised regarding negative impact that accompany the growth in the travel sector, these definitely do not outweigh the associated benefits. But however, besides the positive points, travel industry has its own negative points, but that do not outweigh the disadvantages because advantages of tourism are way too much than the disadvantages. Okay, let's start with the first paragraph now. The economic boost, okay, the economic boost that accompanies a successful in travel industry is quite well recognized, and Thailand is the best example. Thailand is very popular country in terms of tourism. Okay, so the economics boost, like the economy has grown that that economic boost that a country gets after the tourism is very beneficial. It's very recognized, and Thailand is one such example, which is a small country but has been benefited from tourism. The entire Thai economy revolve around tourism, and the country had been able to uplift its socio-economic status through its flourishing hospitality sector. Egypt is another nation that is heavily dependent on its hospitality sector. The growth in number of incoming tourists leads to innumerable prospects in terms of local entrepreneurship and employment generation. Okay, see, I'll tell you, Thailand has been very good. Thailand has been our biggest, positive thing. The Thailand has uplifted its economy due to tourism. And Egypt is yet another nation. Now, you can give some examples in your essays to tell that how tourism has been a proper boon to the countries. So you can give examples of the countries which have been heavily dependent on tourism. Okay, the growth in number of incoming tourists leads to innumerable prospects in terms of local entrepreneurship and employment generation. This is also associated with international investments and infrastructure development. The national authorities, in order to ensure safety of the international visitors, provide better law and order enforcement, improve transportation and healthcare facilities, which in turn benefit the local population. So all these kind of points means the positive points of tourism, and the examples you can include in one body paragraph. Let's move ahead. Now, in this paragraph, you have to discuss about some negative aspect of tourism, because we cannot ignore the negative points of tourism. So you will write on the other hand. Okay, this is the word that you can use because you're talking in contrast right now. You can write on the other hand, the rising influx of holiday makers is associated with increased incidences of crimes, prostitution, and antisocial activities like drugs, trafficking, and gambling, which affect the values of indigenous society. The local population are also affected by the growth in property value indices. Environmentalists are also concerned regarding the environmental remodeling that is associated with increased tourist activities in natural reserves. In this context, it is worth mentioning that by enforcing stern law and order and implementing strict legislations, governments can control most of these negative impacts of tourism. So in this body paragraph, students, we totally focused on what? We totally focused on the negative aspect. So see, you can divide your essay in such a manner with a short introduction. First body paragraph considering the positive side, second body paragraph considering the negative side, and the conclusion with a mixed opinion about your own perspective. Okay, let's start with the last part or the conclusion part. Henceforth, it can be confidently conveyed that even though the growth in travel industry has accompanying negative social impact, these do not outweigh the contributions made by the sector towards social development. Means there are a lot of negative impacts, but still the positive points of tourism is so much or so many that you cannot ignore them. And overall, in sum up, it is a positive thing. Now let's read the entire essay all together so that you understand the flow of ideas in an essay. Let's start now. Travel industry has experienced a major boom in the later part of the 20th century and has been a blessing in disguise, which has helped some weaker nations to uplift their flailing economies. While questions have been raised regarding the negative impacts that accompany the growth in travel sector, these definitely do not outweigh the associated benefits. The economic boost that accompanies a successful industry is quite well recognized, and Thailand is the best example. The entire Thai economy revolves around tourism, and the country had been able to uplift its socio-economic status through its flourishing hospitality sector. Egypt is another nation that is heavily dependent on its hospitality sector. The growth in number of incoming tourists leads to innumerable prospects in terms of local entrepreneurship and employment generation. This also associated with international investment and infrastructure development. The national authorities, in order to ensure safety of international visitors, provide better law and order enforcement, improve transportation and healthcare facility, which in turn benefit the local population. On the other hand, a paragraph change, on the other hand, the rising influx of holidaymakers is associated with increased incidents of crime, prostitution, and antisocial activities like drugs, human trafficking, and gambling, which affect the values of indigenous society. The local population are also affected by growth in property value indices. Okay, in this context, it is worth mentioning that by enforcing strict laws or stern laws, implementing strict regulations, legislation, government can control most of these negative impact of tourism. Henceforth, it can be confidently conveyed that even though the growth in travel industry has accompanying negative social impact, these do not outweigh the contributions made by this sector towards social development. So students, I hope you have understood today's lecture very well, and we have covered 3 more sample essays today. In the coming lecture, we will cover some more essays. So thank you students.